Illyria. If, for example,
Oh.
Khadgar, the Lord of Ravens, turns the key and kills her Trellian, her closest friend, killing her beloved after
A
just getting close again,
9.
would it be enough for her third death to fall into madness, use the Sunwell, not by accident, but on purpose, to open up a massive gateway and usher in their coming?
The Golden One claims a vacant throne. The crown of light will bring only darkness.
Personally, I think this one was related to Kalia, considering they made a whole big deal about finding the crown of Lordaeron within exploring Azeroth, but that story never played out or never played a part in the game. Perhaps due to Kalia's reception, perhaps due to a shift in Sylvanas' direction, who's to say? Trellian could be an option, sitting on the throne of Stormwind, but the faction war seems to be long gone. Pelagos is a new arbiter, but very specific to the Shadowlands storyline, as well as it would be a bit of a repeat. So with an eye on the future, I've got two names to suggest. Illyria, who earned the nickname Lady Sun due to her golden hair that could set her sights on the empty throne within Quel'Thalas, a repeat of the line of her going for the Sunwell and using the powers on purpose this time. Secondly, we have Queen Azshara, Light of Lights, who last time that we saw her set.
I tire of intermediaries and heralds. The true throne of power beckons, and I intend to claim it.
Guessing that a race to the top of Icecrown was out of the question. She probably just gets stuck in the snow. So where is the queen now? And when she gets that throne,
where
what will
is
that
this
mean for
true
us?
throne of
and
power?
More importantly, the darkness of the void.
The blind queen wields a scepter of bone. From the deep, she calls forth doom.
Originally, I gave this one to Sylvanas, in league with the Jailer and all things undead, calling forth Azshara and eventually N'Zoth, as in her mind, dead is dead. Let everybody end each other, that would serve their ambitions. But again, what about Queen Azshara herself? If she claims that throne, could she be the blind queen? Azshara was not exactly a willing ally to the old god N'Zoth, not in truth. So now that she no longer has to worry about him, how does she look at a Xal'atath going around? There are a couple of delves that take us underwater. There's a super interesting side quest in Hollowfall, which is related to the Leviathans and their hope of not having to see us drown. The power of the Dark Ones flow within the waters. Could we see a return of Queen Azshara calling forth doom, perhaps doom for us, or better yet, for our enemies?
I would definitely like to see an Azshara face turn. That would be awesome.
The dark waters will flow in his wake.
Let us stick with these waters then. We followed Anduin into Hollowfall, with waters potentially infused with the Black Blood. A peculiar fish tells us that they're gone, but their blood remains. The blood remembers. Swim in these dark waters and be changed by them. No light shines in these depths. Dark blood rains from the false sky. It tastes of wars past and wars to come. We've seen the Kobus seemingly worshipping this dark power but forgetting themselves, and a friendly abyssal Leviathan child pretending to be a fish. They returned to the sea beneath the sea, wherever that might be, not wanting to see us drown, which is nice with all these drown yourself prophecies. Then Anduin led us one level lower into Ashkahet, which also has darkened waters, the black blood of the old gods being gathered by the Nerubians, and how touching it long enough has us end up in the Unseeming, a sort of upside down from Stranger Things, and that power, that black blood, has played a critical role for the Nerubians.
With many eyes, they will see again. They will drink and be uplifted.
Originally, I connected this to the waters of Tyrhold and the corruption of Galagrond, but considering that the beastie never showed up in Dragonflight, let's give it to the many-eyed Nerubians instead, connected to Queen Ansrek and their so-called ascension. Then there's another that has noticed the rise of the Nerubians and the troubles of the Black Blood.
Deeper its roots will reach, welcoming our embrace. The vassal of life disguised disguise his treachery. Beware the eyes of greed.
I've been told that a vassal is a feudal title for a landholder who serves a lord.
Yeah,
So
vassal.
basically, it would translate into a high-ranking servant of the domain of life. The Horinir Orwenia has shiny green eyes, featured prominently in the trailers. So far, they've been kept quite mysterious, connected to the roots of Alunahir, a tree once ripped out by the titan Amantul, but his roots are still very much around. I've done a video going much deeper into what the story might be about, but perhaps Orwenia is going to lead us into meeting that vassal, someone close to Alun.
6 seats at the high table. 6 mouths that hunger. One will consume all others. The cunning ones kneel before 6 masters, but serve only one.
A big reveal from the Shadowlands was that the Dreadlords actually came from this domain, sired by the Nephrius in league with the Jailer. They've infiltrated the 6 cosmic domains, manipulated events while serving only one true master. We defeated the Nephrius, but his essence went into his blade, Romornia, which the Dreadlords have liberated, so the Nephrius is still out there. What would their goals be, now that the Jailer is out of the picture?
Alright, we're gonna actually fuck around and do a 9 here. We're gonna actually do a fucking 9, bro. Let's fucking do it. Let's fucking do this thing, dude.
Sing beneath the surface. Our dreams. Our song.
All across Azeroth, a song rings out. The Radiant Song. But different people are getting different versions. And her song, it can be heard not just from the core of the world, but also from the crystals, the crystallized essence of Azeroth, like a Baladar.
Collect
Our
or stand in
dreams
circle.
seem to hint that while the Titans might have wanted to seal her from the Void's corruption, not all of it was prevented. And they've been joining the chorus, which lines up with what an Illyria tells us.
No radiance. No song. Just the shadow.
Then we also had this line in the Shadowlands.
Her dreams sing beneath the surface. Quiet now, but her voice will awaken the others.
This is a line during the Zereth Mortis period, so not sure how relevant they want to keep it, but still, what else is awakening? What others are they talking about? Other Zereths? Other crystals? Other world souls? Are there even still more souls out there?
The boy king serves at the master's table. 3 lives will he offer you.
On a different topic, similar to Kalia, I think that this line was related to a story that was changed, but it might rotate back. Anduin Wrynn has been called the Boy King a couple of times, and once was given a story arc where the stress of it all was getting to him. The darkness was creeping in, unleashed by accident, and he was mocked.
Yeah, you can see this in Nadlin Rue's fantastic novel. I wish they would bring her back to have her do more. It's my favorite WoW novel. It's pretty good.
Told that he was gonna serve well, and this was before the Shadowlands, but then his arc shifted. Instead, we saw an Anduin who was once again clear of mind, and he knew what road to take. He was forced to serve by Sylvanas, the Banshee Queen doing to him what Arves had done to her,
Jump 3
dominated
times.
and forced to serve, not able to offer a whole lot of lies. They could have him fall to darkness once more. While so far taking steps to return to the light, the road is full of curves and bumps, right? And while I don't necessarily want to see more happening to the Boy King, tragedy does make for interesting storytelling.
wow, okay.
Even when the tide turns,
Bro-
will he be able to
bro's
hold
sailing
on,
deep
or is he going to
here.
fall even deeper? Sylvanas was unable to convince him that
Don't know
the
about all
jailer was
this.
the right way to go. Could a Zolotov fare
Never
better?
seen this strat
And beyond
before.
Anduin, we could also
Scares
look
me a
at
little if I'm
Dugdon.
being really
At the time of the
real.
Whispers, Dugdon was a little bit too young to
Now
be
a
spreading a
slobber
whole lot of
knocker.
lies, but the years have passed, and he's partying with us now. So far, he's been extremely clever and a great aid in our adventures, but also a bit naive and unexperienced with the dangers of the road. Could he be the one serving at the master's table?
5 lanterns now darkened. The flame they seek will light the Master's way.
Baron Lofar has played a big part in Enduin's road to reconnect
That's
with
an
Earth.
interesting
She
way
is
of
part of
looking
an
at that.
Arafi group, which is called
The
the
tank died, and
Lamplighters.
so we all
They're
died.
the front line against the darkness. Now imagine a story if and when we go to the Arafi Empire, in which their use of the Sacred Flame is
Or if and when the Arathi Empire comes to us. I don't think we go to the Arathi Empire before the Arathi Empire comes to us.
is applied to reigniting the spark of 5 lanterns. 5 houses maybe, which ultimately lights the Master's way. That would be far off future stab in the dark interpretation. A bit closer to home, that would be what we saw in Dragonflight. Queen Alexstrasza, she figured that we were going to need the aspect powers back in order to win against the Primal Incarnates.
And then
she
that
thought
just never happened.
Maybe, just maybe,
Collect
they
or
could get
stand in
this
circle.
by reinvigorating their 5 O-Stones. She was wrong on both accounts. The O-Stones
Yeah, they just never
didn't
did
go
that.
anywhere, but
Yeah.
maybe they didn't go anywhere yet. Their aspectal powers have returned through a Mirdrasil. What if the O-Stones are still going to come into play later?
This is not the Titan's magic.
This is of our world, yet unlike anything I have known.
With that, I think we've covered most of the Whispers, which I actually had something to say about. And it keeps amazing me how fluid they actually are, and how you can reapply them with new information into new situations. Especially the ones that were
I'm
dropped
not
by
sure
the
that's
sub.
necessarily
Dragonflight.
amazing,
They
but
seem to line up nicely with potentials for the war within and beyond. With that, I think it's about time to wrap things up. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. By all means, let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. The speculation on these Whispers has been crazy so far. And say that you want to read up on all the things we talked about today, then check out the wild article in the description down below. Subscribe if you like my videos. And until next time, see ya!
I already gave him a like. Fantastic.
The light has struck a bargain with the enemy of all.
My boys are wrestling. My boys are wrestling. I gotta keep my eye on the prize here. But Bernard and Porthos are having a little wrestle. I don't think that's so bad. I think Porthos could probably learn a few things from Bernard, as long as Bernard, you know, doesn't bully him too much. When you say, Bernard, can you teach Porthos to defend his sisters, please? Can you teach him to do that?
Folks, today we get a real special treat. Master's degree holder in exercise science and IFBB Pro competitor and
Collect or
coach
stand in
Jared
circle.
Feather is going to show us 5 of some of his favorite chest exercises. He's going to break them down point by point. This is my go-to reference as the technique master of the world. Let's find out how to train chest.
Glaze!
So as Mike mentioned, this is just a list of 5 of my favorite exercises. When I compiled this list, I kind of took into consideration a few things. They're not all going to be just what movements are giving me the best stretch that I think are the best for hypertrophy. They're just some of my favorite movements. I had to take into consideration gym equipment that people can normally use, which ones are the best for hypertrophy, which ones give us a really high raw stimulus magnitude, and just some that I've done my whole career that a lot of experts or educators in this space would say, oh, you don't ever have to do that. You don't. That's one road for injury. Blah blah. So there's going to be a lot of movements on here that.
That's a pretty good
aren't
Jeff Cavalier
inherently
impression,
the
dude.
best for
That's
as
a
far
pretty
as, like,
good Jeff
stretch
Cavalier
and things like
impression.
that. But they're movements that I've had in my entire career.
And I
that
love
you
Jeff
can do,
Cavalier, by the way.
Even if you're switching up gyms,
He's a very
traveling,
smart
things of that
guy.
nature. And then a lot of the movements are movements.
But because Jeff Cavalier tends to come from more of like a physical therapy background, he's very cognizant of the risk to injury, to the degree that I think it perhaps is too much cognizance. I've definitely experienced the feeling of being like, wait, is this movement safe? And then doing it like, oh yeah, it's fine. It's actually fine.
Movements that I really enjoy because that deep stretch position
Collect or
is super
stand
great
in
for
circle.
growth, and they're providing you that. So the first movement is going to be machine press, and at any place that you do a machine press, you basically want to find one that actually gets you in that really deep stretch. Because if you're going to pick a machine, why are we doing one that's having you do pretty hard concentric phases and not really deep stretches? We're going to head over to this machine press that we chose at Torture Gym from the Torture lines. Amazing equipment here. I get to train here all the time. So this Mythic machine is very similar to any sort of like, you know, what are some brands? Body Master, Atlantis, things of that nature. You can always find a machine that's very similar. We're gonna go show you the setup there and why I'll talk to you about why I like this one specifically. If you're in a gym and you see a machine that somebody's using and it has this foot pad, odds are it's gonna give you a really fucking deep stretch in this position, because that is specifically used to push the handles out such that you can get back here and grab them. If Mike didn't push this out first, it'd be very hard for him to grab the machine. You'd have to like do that, sit down. It's really kind of hurts the shoulders a little bit. And basically just whatever's comfortable for your shoulders. I like a little elbow flare. Most of my movements I do. If it hurts your shoulders, tuck the elbows, whatever. But you're getting as deep as you can. You take your feet off of this little platform here. Now you have tension at the bottom because it's not lifting the weight for you. And you're just gonna do a regular machine press. Forceful concentrics, nice slow and controlled eccentrics. This is gonna get you all the way back to a full stretch. And the reason I like this one specifically is it almost gives you that cam option or dumbbell press option. His hands are past his pecs. And any machine press that you're doing, you want to make sure that you're getting the deepest stretch possible. Some modifications to things like this, you can put a pad.
That is pretty good, actually.
Shineki, go watch that video on his channel if you want to see that. You can put a pad behind you if the machine doesn't have this option. And that will push you further up.
Push you further
give
out,
you
yeah.
more of a stretch when you grab the handles. The next exercise, or I know I'm cheating here, exercises, is the superset that is one of my favorites. And I chose this because you could do this really deep into contest prep. You can do it through your whole entire bodybuilding career with modifications to the dip, to the push-up, but it is
Collect or stand in circle.
bodyweight dip, superset with a deficit wide grip push-up. I have this movement in at least a couple times per training block, and I probably have for most of my bodybuilding career. It's an amazing way to sequester metabolites. It's an amazing way to get really good at dip strength, push-up strength, just keeping those movements in through your training career. I think it's a good idea. Does it provide an insane stretch? Absolutely. Does it target some other muscles as well, depending on how you do the dip? 100%. But that's the thing. A lot of these are heavy compound movements that I just really enjoy, and they target other muscles as well. But there's a way to do dips where you target your chest primarily, and because it is superset with a wide grip push-up and not a close grip push-up, we're going to try to do the dips in that fashion.
Interesting.
You can do dips in a few different ways. Some of them really focus on the triceps, some on chest. So which ones are you going to do first, Jared?
I'm going to tricep.
Triceps. So I want you to grab a little further up there. Closer is usually more triceps. And what Jared is going to try to do, folks, is he's going to try to close this elbow angle as much as possible. He's going to stay completely upright, and he's going to let his elbows come really back far behind him, and he's going to go back far down into his elbows, and then all the way back up. Yep, back and down to his elbows, and all the way back up. Excellent, good enough, Jared. And then if you want more chest focus, you want to stay less upright, you're more tilted down.
Jump 3
Chest
times.
comes out and elbows flare out on the way down as you bring your weight forward in front of you. Notice how the angle here at the elbow isn't as big anymore,
form notes
but
to
there's
keep
more
in mind,
angle at the
honestly.
shoulder exposing the pecs. For a little bonus round thing, good enough, Jared? If you have a training partner, what they can do for you is hold your feet back to turn this into a crazy deficit push-up situation. So I'm just pulling Jared's feet. I'm not
Hell
touching him at
yeah,
all.
brother.
Now notice his body angle. He's getting the craziest deficit push-up ever. And if you do these, 1 or 2 seconds at the very bottom is a real swell idea.
So here Mike is showing.
Now that's
again,
playing with the
assisted dip.
boys.
Now he's showing the assisted version or the knee push-up version of how we would like to see people do push-ups. Notice it's more of a dive bomb push-up. So if you have to write that as a note to remind yourself
that was
until you
scary.
understand the technique of a push-up, that's totally fine. I did that for a while. I was like, make sure it's dive bomb. His hips are a little higher. He's pushing his weight forward. and making sure the chest gets as deep as possible past those dumbbells. These probably target the chest a little better. The elbows are nice and flared out. It's a better stretch for the pecs, and it's a lot harder. You're gonna do a lot less gyrating, and you're gonna do a lot less push-ups.
Ah, dumbbell fly press.
So the next movement is a pretty low incline fly press. This movement probably popularized by Dennis James back in the day. I chose it for a specific purpose. I could do dumbbell incline press. I could do fly. I think a dumbbell incline press is on most people's top 5 or somewhere in there.
Jump 3
high,
times.
like a high ranking for what they like for chest. It's really not too high up for me. A flat fly press is a good movement for a specific purpose, and this is why I chose it.
This is why I wanted to watch this video. I'm pretty happy with my current movement selection in my existing workout, but I'm always interested to hear new ideas. And whenever they bust out like machines or like equipment I don't have, it's like, okay, well, I mean, I'm sure that's great, but I don't have that. But this is something that I could conceivably do. So I am seated. I am listening.
For beginners, the fly motion is pretty awkward, and getting them to have the proper angle for the elbows, the shoulders, etc. can get pretty weird. For the advanced, you're gonna notice.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not very advanced, so that might be a bit beyond my ken.
The incline is one of those ego exercises. It's that shit you come in here, like I can do dumbbell incline press with the 180s. You can mitigate both of those things, especially if you're a coach or you are an athlete who is listening to this, by just simply making the downward portion more of a fly and coming up into a press. Because that's kind of the motion that most beginners do anyway. This makes it a really good movement for them to learn the fly pattern. So it allows you, like I said, if you're a beginner, you still get to use some load. You don't got to be all concerned about just using the 6 kilos like Mike is here. And if you're advanced, it's going to keep you safer. I'm a big fan of this elbow angle and with the shoulders flaring out in this direction. It's a huge stretch on the pecs.
Jump
and
3 times.
Again, if you are advanced, just make sure you're controlling that eccentric like Mike is here. If this is a new movement for you, because you hear the word fly press, and you're like, oh, press. I'm gonna use a lot of weight still. No, you're not. You get into this deep fly position, and you're limiting the load by a pretty good margin, 30-40%. So, nice fly into a press. Great stimulus.
Yeah, those are 6 kilo weights. That's not a lot of weight.
This might be one of your favorite movements by the end.
Seems like it's a good stretch, though. Seems like it's
So
a
you're
good
gonna
one to
notice
try.
that there's a pretty full spectrum here of what we're doing, how we're targeting. So sternal, clavicular head to the pecs, the full chest. There's a reason for that. You don't just want to have incline movements in. You don't just want to have flat movements in. You want to build a full chest on stage, especially, and just if you want a really cool physique, you want that big upper chest. We did a bunch of stuff already. Even just the low incline stuff hits a lot of just a full pec, sternal. You want a huge upper portion of that chest. And the way I like to do that is with things that target it really well. You're gonna notice there's a high incline bench here. You might think, oftentimes, well, that's a lot of front delt and tricep. Yes, but with this movement specifically, a lot of times you hear me and Mike say, oh, whatever's comfortable, put your elbows wherever you'd like, touch wherever you'd like. I do this in a specific way on purpose. A lot of that comes down to hypertrophy, and a lot of it comes down to just injury resiliency and getting people in these positions intentionally so they don't have issues down the line. I like the high incline press
Collect or stand in
with
circle.
an elbow flare, touching the very fucking top of the chest. Whatever you can get to where the bar's coming right past your nose. And you're gonna notice when I do it, I'm gonna move the pinch forward just a tad. Flaring those elbows and stretching the hell out of the pecs.
Got stuck on that fucking
Yes, it's a
tree,
barbell.
bro.
It's not a cam. It's not a machine where
the tank died, and so we all died.
Positioning of the elbow and where you're touching can help that movement become a better stretch exercise. So you're gonna notice when I do it, it's very high on the clavicle. My elbows are out. Give it a try. Like retract and depress the scapula. Keep it that way, and really try to utilize the pecs as you're doing it. Slow and controlled eccentric, especially if you haven't done a press with elbow flare like this before. You're gonna want to try it really slow, way less weight first. I'm a big fan of putting people in these positions, and I use this.
Ooh, we're
all
pulling
the
these
time.
guys in as well.
Helps you get a
Exciting.
really big upper chest, helps your joints out a ton. It's just overall better for both hypertrophy and joint health. So we're gonna demonstrate some sets here. Try to mimic it as best as possible. If you feel some weird shit, yeah, a little bit elbow tuck's fine. Moving the bench down a tad's fine. You're still gonna be able to do incline, high incline presses if this one bothers your shoulders specifically. So just keep that in mind. If there is some weird shit going on, give it a couple weeks, see how it feels. Try some like proprioceptic stuff, jamming your fingers in, retrying a set, do it again, try a set. Don't just give up on an exercise because you feel like a small twinge. Odds are, if you're using the appropriate amount of weight, you're not just gonna fucking blow your shoulder or your pec off the bone. Right past my chin. Notice it's literally grazing my beard. And that's gonna help you because people like to shift around in the seat a lot. Now you can't.
But what if you have a beard like mine? What if you got a big beard?
Reach the chest to the bar. Press.
Collect or stand in circle.
All right, guys. This is called my personal favorites list. The barbell bench, first of all, is not going anywhere. Everyone loves it. It has tons of sport application. Every fucking beginner should do it. It's going to help you decide the direction in which you want to take your fitness journey. It's one of those movements.
I was with your mama last night. That bitch loved that shit too. You feel me?
The bench, she told me she hates bench press.
I'm talking about the viewer there, mama.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my mama. I guess you went with my mama. Guys, I hate this shit in the industry. Instead of demonizing exercises, how about we teach people a way to do them safely so that the pec tears, the shoulder injuries, whatever you guys think is going to happen, which is quite rare. You just see it more because we have social media.
It's sensational, so it trends.
It happens less. I've actually seen more pec tears on incline dumbbell, but everybody has that in their top favorites. It's a lack of eccentric control, a lack of knowing how to press properly. Again, this movement is going nowhere. It's really great for beginners to do. And even advanced, if you've done it your whole career, I would put myself in the advanced category. I still do barbell bench press because I've done it properly for so long. My joints and everything can handle it. I've done it to where I'm not trying to just load the bar up and do as much as possible. So it's a great exercise for muscle growth.
You might still
it's
time
a great
this, by
variation
the way.
To put in. If you get
15
tired of
deaths.
the cambered bar bench, if you get tired of the dumbbell bench,
All this
you need to
nonsense
have
has
a
been
pretty
going
good
on.
subset of exercises with high raw stimulus magnitude for basically every muscle group, with a high FSR for every muscle group. If we're just eliminating every high raw stimulus exercise, bye-bye deads, bye-bye barbell bent row, bye-bye bench press, bye-bye half the bench press variations, you're eliminating a lot of, one, fun in the gym for people, and two, a lot of really great exercises that grow a lot of muscle. So instead of demonizing the bench, how about we teach people how to do it properly and get the most out of it with huge pec stretch, with a really nice control and things of that nature. So basically every pec tear I've seen, there's a lack of eccentric control. Even when people send me videos like, man, I was doing everything right, watch this video. I'm like, no, you weren't.
Watch
so let's
this
learn how to
video.
barbell bench press properly today and see why it's one of my favorite exercises. Notice Mike's grip width relative to where he is pressing.
Jump 3 times.
From. His elbows are flared. His wrist and elbows are stacked, and that allows him to touch higher on his chest. If he touched lower, he gets into this weird position where his shoulders are now rolling forward a ton, and he has to tuck his elbows to shield. It feels weird. Nothing's really stacked, and that's when you start to hear people like, "Oh, my shoulder's a little weird on this, my elbow's a little weird," because you're literally putting your elbow back like this or forward like this. So he's wide, pretty high on the chest. Mike, grab close, and watch where Mike will now touch on his chest because he's doing a close grip. Boom. So if you're closer, a little more narrow, you touch a little lower on the sternum. No big deal. If you're wider, you touch a little higher on the sternum, but everything you do has the same amount of eccentric control, especially when you're reaching that bottom portion. That's the biggest thing. Anytime somebody sent me a video where they're like, I was pressing perfectly. Mike, you can stop. That's good. Good stuff. I was pressing perfect and I had everything right. My joints were stacked, this and that. Every fucking time, the eccentric control in the bottom goes straight to shit. They're like, oh, well, I was doing 10 reps at 315. I was trying to hit that PR. Reps 1 through 7 were decent. Reps like 8 through 10 were like here, controlled, stop, bounce, or sink in. And that is every time when the injury happens. You have to elicit the same amount of control in every single rep of every single exercise. That's when you run into issues, is when you stop doing that shit. You start gyrating, you start sinking your chest, you start that lack of control in the eccentric. When your pecs aren't used to this position, especially, yeah, you're at a higher risk of injury, 100%. And you can't stop every injury from occurring. But if you can control this and your muscle fibers are used to the tension and you're not just randomly coming down here fast where they're not used to it, you have a way less likely chance of getting injured. So just make sure throughout somebody's entire training career, you're cleaning up their bench press, because you've all seen beginners bench press. It's pretty sloppy. Try to clean it up right from the get-go. Get them into good movement patterns, get their joints stacked, get them nice and retracted into pressing with the scapula on the bench, kind of powerlifting arch style. It's absolutely fine, probably safe, much safer than just flat back benching. Through the whole career, just make sure that they're eliciting that same control the entire time.
Folks, when you're benching for maximum pec gains, you want to retract your shoulder blades behind you, arch your back a little bit to expose your chest. You'll notice my chest is already pre-lengthened, which means the rest of the contraction, the whole rep, is going to be a length-and-tension relationship. As you come down to touch your chest, you're going to think of your chest and move your chest up to meet the bar. You're reaching your chest to meet the bar and then pushing out. And at the bottom, you're reaching again. Just that couple of millimeters of movement will open up your chest, cue that massive stretch, and allow you not to just move weight, but move weight with the particular vector of hitting those pecs. It's a pec exercise first. It's a moving weight exercise second. Give that reaching cue a try.
Jump 3 times.
You might notice that every one of your sets, that little burn and pump in the pecs is going to get that much better, and your shoulder joints are going to feel that much better.
But it was fine.
I've heard this. What do you think about people saying that decreases the range of motion?
Yeah, they're right. It definitely decreases the range of motion at the top, but it increases the fraction of the range of motion that's exposed to that length and tension, which means, like, if I just benched completely flat back and did this,
yeah, we can still time
it's a
this,
lot of range for the triceps, plenty for the pecs outside of the stretch position.
This is actually giga-timeable.
But what we do here is we reduce the total range, but increase the fraction of the total range that's length and tension.
That guy just
We have
died.
enough data now to suggest that just length and partials are as good as full ROM in many cases.
Why is he waiting for the res? That's also kind of weird.
We have every reason to believe it's going to be a good thing. In addition to that, experientially, if you bench like this, it'll hit your pecs.
That's fine.
But if you arch and retract and like this lower range of motion, but that stretch, it'll blow your shit out of the water. So it's not a guessing game to us. You do 3 sets of shit, gets you sore for days, you know it's the real deal. Folks, super happy to have Jared here. Good little pec training demo, top 5 of his exercises.
Not a bad list.
And why are we in this position? Well, I think we're just experimenting with being more edgy. People said, you guys need to do something to really attract viewers to the channel. So we'd start really at our A game, which is man-on-man love. As soon as the camera cuts out, we're going to start making out like we've never seen another beautiful person before or since. Why are you shaking? Are you scared?
No, we lost one of our DPS.
Good.
That's unfortunate.
Folks, stay terrified. Get your big packs. Is this weird? I can't tell. See you next time.
Range 5.
There is that popular gym enjoyer experience where you get a little bit more gay after you start working out. Because you start looking at other guys being like, ooh, that guy's got pretty good vascularity. That guy's delts looking pretty good. That guy's traps really popping out. Wonder what his routine is. It's rowing, thanks for asking. Oh. What? Oh. I pulled aggro. I pulled aggro. That's disconcerting. I shouldn't be allowed to pull aggro.
Every successful person, from Elon Musk to Cristiano Ronaldo, swear by their morning routine. It's their secret weapon. So, I broke down the habits of the world's top achievers to create the ultimate morning routine that guarantees productivity. And I'm...
Either the tank wasn't in range, and so the tentacle started tentacling me, or I pulled aggro from the tank. I wonder which is more likely.
going to be putting it to the test. You know what they say. Every successful morning starts with an early night. So it's 8 p.m. We're getting ready for bed. Now, as you can see, the blinds are open, and that's because Richard Branson leaves his blinds open for the sun to naturally wake him at around 5 a.m. Now, I'm from Canada, it's winter here, and we don't get sunlight. Period. Since I'm not living in the Virgin Islands in June, I have a backup plan. Retired Navy SEAL Jocko Willink sets his alarm for 4:30 a.m. to the song Iron Swan. It's something that he calls an escalating alarm.
It starts off nice and mellow, and if you don't get up in time, it's coming.
I'm scared for that. I feel so exposed right now. I might as well just drop the sex tape. I really hope my neighbors don't have binoculars, or else they're gonna see something else.
I like how his wife is like, I'll sleep in a different room
The
tonight,
vibe of
honey.
this
It's fine.
song is making me just want to hit a hookah.
Hell yeah,
and
dude.
Pass out. Not leap out of bed and seize the day.
Good morning, everybody. As you can see, it's as dark as my diary, the year I hit puberty. And my usual little morning greeter hasn't even risen. And out of just sheer curiosity, I'm gonna let the song play out because I'm so curious what's gonna happen. And while I do that, we're gonna drop down and do some push-ups. Simon Cowell does 150 push-ups every morning. It's one of the things that helped him lose 50 pounds. Also, it didn't take long for me to figure out exactly what Jocko meant by an escalating alarm.
Yeah, that's a trauma alarm. That's some Hell Week type shit.
You knew it was coming, didn't you? Cristiano Ronaldo takes a cold shower every single morning. Who else hates themselves? Like, I want to wake up feeling like a champion.
There's no medical benefit to taking cold showers, by the way.
Not inferior to a baby carrot. But everyone
There's
says it's
literally
good for you.
no medical
I heard a
benefit
guest on Joe
whatsoever.
Rogan say that, which is everyone, I guess. I never really know. Am I supposed to bring shampoo and body wash in? Or is this just supposed to be sheer torture? This is easily the worst 1 minute of my life that I can recall. I think ever since my dad gave me the birds and the bees talk, but the amount of benefits of a cold shower is really hard to pass up on.
No. None of these are scientifically proven.
The day really only can get better.
From there, I made my bed. Here's some proof. Apparently, this simple chore can make you more productive the rest of your day. Then I went downstairs to make a coffee. Sort of. Ed Catmull makes a drink consisting of 3 espressos, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and some sweetener. He says this helps him think better. So, Ed, you're telling me this helps you think better? What's in your cocoa, Ed? I think another name for this thing is a crackhead's red-eye mocha.
GG, thank
And if
you, has
need
been
this
called.
First thing in the morning, you probably should have stayed in bed just a little bit longer. Oh my gosh,
False
that's a
thought
heart attack hot
upgraded.
chocolate, yo. Whoa. It's definitely not the consistency that I would describe coffee to be. It's pretty thick. Like, I could almost maybe seal a wound with it. I think that this might just help him think better because anything less than this